What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlik.
Am I supposed to wubba lubba dub dub? Because this isn't
You can
actual
do
show.
whatever the hell you want, Johnny.
Oh,
Whatever
well,
your
eek
heart-
farbadurkle.
You could do that as well. We are here for something you and I have not done.
In a while.
I think it's been like half a year since me and you have been on one of these podcasts, but an exclusive Patreon podcast for MVP. If you guys are watching us on patreon.com/mostvalidpodcast, thank you guys for your support. We cannot do what we do without your support. And if you're not and you're watching this on YouTube, what are you doing? Go ahead, go over to patreon.com, because instead of this like 10-minute clip you're about to get, you're going to get the full, let's say 40 minutes, an hour. One of them was even an hour and a half is how long Sean, Dave, and I went on one of these. So go over there to get the full one. And that kind of brings me into something else I wanted to bring up in this one.
Yes.
That I wanted to ask you. Have you ever thought about in your head what it would be like if you were born in a different time period?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even saying like in America. Like, I'm saying at all. Like, not just 1900s, 21st century. I'm saying like anywhere in the world, any time period.
Yeah, I've thought of that here or there.
Which ones?
I don't know.
Johnny's like, you're putting me on the spot, man.
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot. Just not this era for sure. I've just thought about it. It's like
if you grew up as a Viking, is that what
that
you
was
thought
one
about?
of them. Oh, for sure. Neither of us would survive anything that far back.
Well, I had the thought of this.
Huh?
I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I had the thought of, because that takes place in like the 1800s, the Wild West, basically.
Yeah,
or like
mid 1800s.
You're a cowboy. It made me think of this. Would I be able to have survived in that time period? Like, if I was a cowboy with a gang that was on the run, like a gang meaning like what they have, where it's like their little pocket of civilization. They're like little handful of 20 people that set up camp, or they're not living in a city, they're not even living in a town. They're setting up camp off of a road.
Here's the thing that we always, like, everyone goes off of, though. It's like, oh, it's me right now. It's like, no, if we grew up in that era, we'd be very different, too.
Well, it'd be...
I didn't even think of that.
You can think about it two different ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Your mentality wouldn't be the same now.
No.
But think of it this way. Do you want to put yourself in the body of, I'm this old as I am right now, or... think about it, if I had to grow up as a kid during that time.
Then, yeah, things would be very different.
Because, like, the one thing I didn't think of until later in the game is there's this one NPC, this one Jack, who runs around. He's a little boy. He's the only little boy in this camp. And there was one time, like, you can go to the other people in the camp and kind of hit square and, like, have conversations with them. And the one you go, oh, how's it going there, Jack? Oh, I'm bored. Well, why don't you find something to get yourself in then? It's like, wow. If I was the only boy, like little kid, out of like 20, 30 people in a camp, how boring would that be?
Yeah.
Basically just walking around like, okay, what do I do? Because they don't have electricity. Well, you don't have video game electricity like you do now. Let me just plug in my PlayStation.
Don't have any, if you're camping out like that, you don't have any electricity.
Let me be on my phone. No, it's not like that. Like, that would... I looked at him like, man, that would honestly suck.
And in his case, he probably can't read. So if there's a book... It's very unlikely he can read. I mean, there's the chance that
unless he's got, like, someone in the camp that
is teaching him. Yeah, but most likely, if he's in that...
illiterate.
He's probably illiterate. Because if he's growing up like a cowboy... desperado style camp where they're always like stealing to make living. Yeah. They're probably not worried about reading and writing.
Well, that's what this is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Type camp.
So I'm gonna say it's probably most likely he can't read. So it's like he can't read to entertain himself. He can't. So yeah, no, I have thought about that, but it's like you have to figure out what scenario you want to talk about. Am I just being dropped in at my age right now? Because most of those scenarios we wouldn't survive.
No, we wouldn't. Plus,
growing up that way is very different. You learn a lot of different things. You blah blah blah.
Plus, I was even thinking about this, and like, I mean, this is kind of a conversation that can be so different with many different types of people. But like there was one part where I went to talk to a stranger in that game.
Yeah.
And he was an African American doctor. And some guys stole his wagon because they didn't like, first off, he was like, well, they probably didn't like a black medicine man. But then also he goes, well, I was kind of undercutting the competition as well. So they probably hired these raiders to take my wagon. And like, there was part of me that's like, you know what? I can't speak for time back then because I wasn't in it.
Yeah.
And I can't speak for different races now because I'm not that.
Yeah.
But like, I just look back in our history and I just go, there's a part of me that goes, as much as we complain about our society now, are we perfect? No. But part of me thinks like, it's a lot better. I take living right now compared to living way back then.
Yeah. No,
I would take living now compared to even the 1920s.
1950s was even bad.
Even that. I mean, because like there was, you say the 50s, I say the 20s. It's like Dave and Mark. Dave said, oh, are we the 20s coming around because we're 1 year away from the new 20s?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, is big band music going to come back? And he plays Zoot Suit Riot.
Yeah.
And Mark goes, because I was like, no, the 20s is like swing jazz.
Yeah.
Is what was big. And Dave's like, yeah, big band. I'm like, no, you're thinking like, and Mark
30s,
even said,
40s.
Mark even said, he goes, no, Dave, you're thinking like 50s jazz. That's what you're thinking. That type
I'd say
of
it was
big
probably
band,
40s was big band.
40s,
because
50s.
A lot of big band was played during the World War.
Yeah.
The Second World War.
Whereas the 20s was
ragtime.
I mean, ragtime, but it
was the outs of ragtime.
The term big band has also changed.
That's true.
Like, big band back then was what you and I were probably used to in college with jazz bands.
Yeah, like Glenn Miller orchestra stuff.
Basically, Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
Little jazz combos here and then, where Dave was thinking more of like the 50s big band, which changed drastically from the 20s.
Yeah. Well, 20s, from what I learned, was like a outs of ragtime mixing with jazz and becoming the first ever big bands. So it's like, it's not really even big band yet. It's small, like 5-piece combos of instruments that don't really even, well, they do go together, but they don't, like, you would never see them as big band.
Yeah. And I mean, I just think that in that case, the word big band, we just associate with the 20s. Like big band? Okay, 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're a music major or minor or whatever, like we both dabbled in or did. You are, I'm dabbled.
Jazz was something that if you want to, I will say this.
Yeah.
If you want to get a wide range of different types of jazz while only following one artist, Miles Davis is your boy.
True.
Because he pretty much went through everything. Like, because the only reason I know, like, I really know this is I did a report on him for my music history. Because the thing that I did in that one, and I'll be honest, I'm going to nerd out right now, like completely nerd out music-wise, because I nerded out for that paper. Probably one of the only papers I really enjoyed writing. Because I was taking a U.S. history class. We were talking about like the 50s and stuff. And basically what I did was I looked at how life was then and related it to his music and kind of followed along that kind of timeline. And he's a guy where it's like, if you listen to his early stuff compared to his late stuff when he was like the psychedelic jazz and stuff like that, basically when he was taking all them fancy drugs
disease
that he was taking and them psychedelics, why they call it psychedelic jazz. It's very, 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 very different than what was way earlier in that. And then he even got into funk, like jazz funk.
I believe it because I mean, just look at the Beatles and how short of a span of time their music changed.
Thank you guys for checking out this Patreon podcast. I know patrons. Thank you guys for your undying support. We cannot do what we do without you guys. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, you watched the little sample. I don't know where I'm going to cut, what I'm going to show you, but Thank you guys for watching it. Make sure to get the full podcast at patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. $1 gets you the audio. $2 get you what you just saw here on youtube.com/Most Valuable Podcast Reel or Most Valuable Podcast. I don't remember the real URL for us, but thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.